Now, if there's one thing I really dislike about religious horror movies, it's when they get very heavy-handed with their messaging. And while the messaging in this movie is about as subtle as a sledgehammer, I have to admit that I really enjoyed how it did it. When it comes to religious horror movies, Indonesia pumps out more than anyone else combined, and while I have no statistic to back up that claim, it's just how it feels to me. From Satan's Slaves to KKN in the Dancer's Village, religion is the key element of movies where over 90% of the population is Muslim. Yes, there are exceptions like Keramat, the Doll series, and Ivana, but by and large, it's all about religion, which is enough to put off most people from watching more than 15 minutes. And that was almost me with this movie, but there was something that lured me in and made me want to keep watching, and it was most likely to do with its translated title, Hell Torture. You have to admit, that's a hell of a title. Based on a well-known horror series, a very religious couple suffer a horrible tragedy when 3 of their 4 children are killed when attempting to cross a fast-moving river in the middle of a heavy storm. During the recovery of the children's bodies, we witness their souls being tortured in hell for the sins they committed while they were alive. Yeah, so like I said, not very subtle, and this movie definitely aims to fearmonger its audience. And if reports from Indonesia are correct, apparently there was a huge uptick in the younger people running to mosques to beg for forgiveness. I enjoyed the scenes that were set in hell, showing the torture being applied to the teens. It's a little over the top and the effects are rather average, but it doesn't hold back with plenty of tongues being cut off, arms being ripped apart, and a young girl repeatedly hanging herself. All the torturing that the teens experience are linked to their so-called evil actions they performed in real life. Without giving away any spoilers, these young teens are not the angels their parents think they are. But as mentioned, it's very heavy-handed, and I can see how someone who takes their religion seriously would be genuinely spooked by what they see on screen. One thing that really annoyed me about the film, and it's something I've seen in many Indonesian horror movies, is scenes when people are grieving the dead body in a family home, and when there are random people who mention quite nasty things about the deceased in front of their family members. Doesn't this go against the concept of the film? There's also a strong message here about parents needing to be more attentive of their children to ensure they're kept on a righteous path, but unfortunately, that message gets lost by the focus on the non-haram deeds performed by the children instead, and thus I feel the parents got off far too lightly in this film. An interesting film. I enjoyed it, but perhaps for the wrong reasons. Now, if you like light torture performed on teenagers, then this movie has you covered. Likewise, if you want to watch a movie that has something to scare you into following your religion a little bit more closely, then it also has you covered. But for the rest of us, we've seen far better Indonesian horror movies. But what did you think? Leave me a comment below with your opinion. Press like if you enjoyed this review. I'm the Artie Dans and you're watching Shockmania. I will catch you next time.